What's going on, people? Welcome back to 30 Mins Arsenal with myself and my guy, Harry. What are you telling
What's
me,
up?
my brother?
What's up? Feeling good, man. Feeling good at last. Mate. I had my hopes up when West Ham were doing the deal for about 45 minutes, but then, well, Manchester City doing their business, being ruthless, and being ruthless is the key. Is the key, and it's something that we need to be able to do.
Mentality. This is what these
Yeah.
guys have. Get me? They got that experience. No Kevin De Bruyne, and they still managed to
Yep.
pull up the goods. And
Mm-mm-mm.
obviously, for me, like I said, Harry, we met. It was wonderful meeting you. We went to the
Oh yes,
Southampton
mate.
game. Brilliant
Hats
seats,
off,
thanks to
man.
you. You know what I mean? You got the links, you
Oh,
got the
mate.
pull.
What an incredible experience, So I went down to London, had the wicked experience of seeing an Arsenal game with Premsy, but it was an interesting game. Yeah, conceding after 23 seconds is pretty mental. It was a Southampton game. We nearly nicked it at the end, but yeah, yes,
It,
that
it
was
was a roller coaster of a
it
game,
was
though.
a
Do you know
roller
what I
coaster.
mean?
It was a roller coaster, and it was Arsenal in its current state, in its all its true colours, the good and the bad. But
Mm.
yes, it was certainly an experience, man. And thank you for
Honestly,
joining me.
no, it was a good experience. It was too long overdue, to be honest with you. We've known each
Mm.
other for the best part of 2 years now, and we finally got to meet. We're doing podcasts
Yes,
every week. You get me? It's about time. I'm gonna have to make a trip up to Japan, Tokyo sometime
do it,
soon,
man.
as long as we don't look to get bombed by North Korea and all of that.
Never,
Fam.
never,
you know.
never happening. Never happening.
Do
Touch
you know
wood,
what I
mate.
mean?
Touch wood.
they're making it a big deal over here on the news and stuff.
Yes.
This is what the
Oh,
New
what
Zealand
in
is doing.
England? Yeah. Mate,
Yeah,
it's
man.
been the case for ages, man. The North Koreans have been bluffing for the last goodness knows how many years with these missiles, yeah. And they never land anywhere near Japan. They're making too much of a hassle about it. Yeah.
Well,
So
hopefully, fingers crossed it stays that way
fingers
anyway.
crossed.
But
Fingers
look,
crossed.
let's dive into it. Yesterday, Arsenal versus Chelsea. Convincing performance from the first half, in my opinion. I
Yep.
think we could have potentially done much better throughout the whole 90 minutes and just absolutely throttle these man whilst they're down.
Oh,
How did you see the game, Harry?
mate, it's relief. It's relief, and I was very pleased from the word go. We were at their throats. But mate, if you saw Chelsea's lineup, playing Aubameyang up there, playing Auba up there just for the narrative,
Hmm.
you knew, and the formation that they played, that their press wasn't going to be anywhere near as City's press, or what we're going to be able to see in St James's Park come the weekend. The game was there for the taking. We should have had 5 or 6 at the end of the first half. And yeah, it was job done. To be honest, a clean sheet is what we really needed.
Hmm.
Very slack from Zinchenko to concede that goal. But all in all, it's a relief. Finally, the taste of victory for the first time in what, like a month? Bloody hell, mate. And I've got so much to talk about this game, but those changes that we made, big up Arteta for making them, big up Kiwior, Trossard, and Jorginho too. I mean, if we had those changes in those other different games in an earlier state, I think that's a big difference between the Manchester City and Arsenal, gaffer wise.
Hmm.
One, you got a gaffer in Pep Guardiola who's used to the situation. And then with Arteta, he's done an amazing, fantastic job, but he has never been in a situation like this.
Hmm.
The squeaky bum time, with 5 games left. So yes, man. Yeah, yes, man.
Nah,
Yes, man. All in all, very good to get
hmm.
that win. Yeah.
Do you know what? I think it was good that we've seen some changes. You touched on it there, but
Yes.
I've been crying out for this for a little while. I think myself and
Yep.
you on 30 Mins Arsenal in the past
Yep.
as well, during the kind of capitulation of drawing loads of games in a row. We've actually
Yeah.
talked on it and said we need to be making changes. We need to freshen things up. We need to make sure players that are not in form, but might be fan favorites or player favorites, they need to get dropped to the bench. But
Mm.
it's one of them situations where now, for me, it seemed like the pressure was off a little bit because we were out of form, and he's made them changes
Yes.
for the sake of it. And this is what pisses me off about Arsenal. I'll be honest with you. When the pressure seems to be off, we seem to pull our socks up and play freely. When the pressure is on, it seems like we can't actually play properly. Do you know what I mean? It looks
Yeah,
like
I
we
mean,
can't go, and
you saw
it's a
this
mad thing.
last season happening, yeah. Premsy, just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
大丈夫ですよ. Okay. Hi. Sorry, man. That's my mum calling to see if I'm up. You know, she gets worried every so often. Live call for my mum. Excellent.
That's what you need, because I'm telling you,
Mate.
a lot of people, thank God, myself and you have still have our mum around, but a lot of
Yes.
people out here, they don't, unfortunately, they don't have a mum that can give them a call and stuff, and you just got to be grateful in everything that you do, I
No,
suppose,
man,
man.
mate. But come on, man. I'm 38. I'm 38, and I'm getting a random call from my mum in the morning to see if I'm okay. Mate, God bless her. Anyway, God bless her. Anyway, mate. Anyway, dude, going back to the situation about the changes. Yes, we were gagging for it, and the pressure. The question about pressure. This happened last season. We remember that. You know how we managed to throw away that top 4 slot. You know, but we learn. Of course, we wanted to be perfect for this season. But in order to crush a juggernaut, a monster like Man City, we had to be perfect, and we didn't bring out the goods. So we learn, and we have to move on. You know, this pressure factor, it's going to come next season too. You know, and we better be able to counteract for that.
This is it. We need to learn from this. We need
Yeah.
to learn. Definitely need to learn. Is this
That's one of my Japanese fans out there, Man Say City. He's a very keen radio listener. He's a City fan, but he's always sending in messages on for radio, not just about City, but for Arsenal too. Like, the thing in Japan is, the rivalry between the clubs. Of course, it's there, but it's not like full on with every single supporter out there. You know, there's quite a few people kind of like you know, saying, "Oh wow, that's pretty impressive." You know. So there's not all that aggressive banter that you're used to.
Did he only become a City fan 5 years ago, or what? What's going on here? Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. Maybe I don't know. This guy could be in his early 20s. So maybe he's been a City fan for like 10 years or something like that. Yeah.
Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, Harry. You need to get him on the radio station and show
Yeah.
him what time it is, show him heritage, and bring on the Arsenal over to him. But look, let's dive back into the game, because I think there's a few people's performances that I want to touch on. I
We
want
got
to
to go
touch
for it.
on
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka first of
Oh,
all.
hats off, man.
Unbelievable.
What a performance from Granit, you know. The tenacity, the intensity, the leadership skills too. Of course, our captain is Odegaard, but the real captain on that field has to be Granit Xhaka. And there's talk of him like leaving. Hell no, he's going to be there next season as well. And I just love his kind of presence that he had for this game, and he just made everything a lot easier for everyone around him. Made things a lot easier for the men at the back. Yeah, and obviously he slots well back in when Zinchenko's doing his thing in the middle of the park.
Do you know what? I seen a heat map of Granit Xhaka, and he was literally all over the pitch in that game, and he was in the box quite often. And I think I've been quite critical of Granit Xhaka over recent weeks, because I
Yep.
don't think we've seen that same Granit Xhaka that we have at the start of the season and during the middle of the season. But yesterday's performance, quality. You know, he got what was it, three assists in the first half. Do you know what I mean? Which is not easy to do. So credit to him. If that was Kevin De Bruyne that got a hat trick of assists, everybody would be absolutely making the most out of it. But when it's Granit Xhaka, it doesn't look like he gets the props that he deserves. I think Odegaard as well, he's a player that we have to talk about, have to touch on, because he's a guy that we kind of, I wouldn't say we went on a whim with him, but we did risk it, because there was talks of a James Maddison coming in. There was talks of other players getting preferred to Odegaard, and we went out there. We made the loan deal permanent, signed him in. And this season, it seems like he's really come into his own, even though he might not have the leadership skills like a Granit Xhaka. I do think sometimes in the bigger games, he needs to stand up and be seen and heard more, 100%.
Yeah.
but his performances are quality. What did you make of Odegaard?
Well, things apart from the goals, he was there, he was doing his thing. It's the Odegaard that we saw for the first half of the season. He had a very good game, but we can't ignore the fact that he went missing in a couple of those draws that we had quite recently, and the City game too. He had a stinker. But yes, he makes everything a lot easier, just as Granit Xhaka did. And the way he takes the ball, the way he has the ball underneath his control, the way he sucks in pressure and then releases Saka and feeds and everybody else. And another thing which was very good, I'm talking about Odegaard and Jesus too, is we didn't have Odegaard or Jesus coming back behind the halfway line. We saw that against City because we just couldn't manage to hold up the ball and do our thing in their half because of the way that Guardiola set it up. So it was a relief to see Odegaard. Obviously, Premzi, there's a fair other two characters that came into the starting lineup that, mate, they did their thing. I was very impressed about.
Yeah, Jorginho, I thought he was very, very good. He was putting the ball forward every opportunity he had. And you know what? Credit to Arteta, because Thomas Partey had an absolute stinker against Man City. And this is what I want to see. I want to see players be held accountable. If they're not playing well, drop them on the bench. This is why we went in January and brought Jorginho. He wasn't my first choice, but every time he's played, he looks like he's doing all right. He's got the experience. I thought he was, before he come to the club, I didn't watch him too much at Chelsea, I'm not going to lie. However, I was under the impression that he held the ball too long and he was always passing sideways. But since he's come and he's put that Arsenal shirt on, he's been very progressive with his passing. His passing's quite good as well. He gets in, puts a challenge in. And that combination between them three, Xhaka, Jorginho and Odegaard, it works a treat. I don't know what you made of Jorginho's performance.
Jorginho's performance was excellent. And what you saw, we're dealing with a Champions League winner here. We're dealing with a Euro winner here. And what's incredible about his play, it's the calmness, man. The calmness that Thomas Partey and the confidence that Thomas Partey has lost. And you see him, I was seeing throughout the game what he was doing. He was shouting all over the place, these directions to every single player around him, he's a field marshal, man. And he's just so chilled out. And the balls that he plays, and everybody says, we know that Jorginho is getting old. We know that Jorginho hasn't got the intensity to play against an immense pressure. But the thing is, his positioning play, and he's actually a very good tackler of the ball too,
and he reads the game very well. He makes them interceptions.
Reads it so well.
Jesus, Gabriel Jesus. I want to touch on him quickly before we move on to more important matters in the Gabriel at centre-back, because obviously, as we probably all know, he could potentially be out injured, but we will get on to that soon. Gabriel Jesus, some fantastic play there. I don't know whether you've seen that passage of play when he held the ball up onto Odegaard, onto Saka, to Xhaka. And you know what? I was quite surprised Xhaka made his way through into the box and had a crack on goal, but he was outstanding, Gabriel Jesus. He was absolutely everywhere. You could see maybe it took him a little bit of time to get back to fitness and get back to his best, but we're starting to see that now, especially in the last game. I definitely think Gabriel Jesus is coming back. What do you make of it?
Scintillating, electric. He really portrays Arsenal, the Arsenal that we love currently, and his skills, his positional play. It's nearly there where it was before he had that injury in the World Cup. It's nearly there, and it just personifies our Arsenal right now, and we just need him every single game to do what he does. The way he brings the ball down, the way he controls it, with regardless of the pressure from these massive centre backs. As was the case with Xhaka and Odegaard. He makes things a lot easier. You know, the countless number of times that Gabriel Fernando de Jesus has just brought down the ball out of nowhere with these Ramsdale long punts, you know, and being able to get fouls and then actually releasing the other players. He's a quality player, and we need him to give our foundation. We need him to bring out the goods for the last 4 games and the next season too. Yeah.
No, 110%. I totally agree with that. I think also if we went out in the summer and brought another striker, which is something that we have touched on before to give us a bit of a different option, he'll be perfect to be playing off a striker like an Ivan Toney, somebody like that.
Exactly. Ivan Toney or a Vlahovic possibly too.
Oh.
I'm all in for Ivan Toney, man.
Do you reckon we're going back for Vlahovic after what happened?
No, man, it won't happen. It won't happen, and it's just an idea that I have of we just need that kind of like, you know, big no nonsense striker with a good finish, physicality, and good to play off, like Giroud in his peak. You know, if we had him now, of course, that would have been the best.
Yeah, if we had somebody like Giroud in his peak, that would, because you know what, I think Giroud was very underrated when he was at Arsenal at times. Yeah, maybe he might have, you know, missed a few opportunities here and there, but he also scored some fantastic goals and a different variety of goals as well. Headers, scorpion kicks, front. He was one of the best players that were running front post, getting goals when the ball's coming in, getting the little toe onto it. We need somebody like that, 110%. We definitely need a player like that. But let's move on to Gabriel, because this isn't looking good, Harry. I'm telling you, Arteta done his post-match press conference, said that Gabriel potentially, it looked like he was holding his hamstring, which we know that could put you out for a few weeks or whatnot. It would be a massive blow if we lost Gabriel at this time. No Saliba, no Tomiyasu. Gabriel goes. That means we're going to have to trial out the partnership of Kiwior, who made his full Premier League debut, and Rob Holding. And to be honest, that don't fill me with confidence.
Honey, about Kiwior and Holding. We're talking about like the Coca-Cola cup or something over here right now. Oh, mate. But you never know with the situation with Gabriel. You know, it might have been a precautionary. There's nothing coming out of the camp right now. I'm on the side that there could have been, there probably has been some sort of strain with his hamstring. You know.
I think that's what it is. I think the way he was clutching it, it looked like it was high up into his hamstring into his butt. You know what I mean? Like he was holding it dead high up. It wasn't like low down. He was holding it quite high. So it's definitely a muscle strain, which can put him out for, say, 2 weeks. I'm back in, but we've only got 4 weeks left.
Only a good bit of news is, I know after the game, you know, he went up and congratulated all his mates out there. And if things were really, really bad, he wouldn't have been able to do that. You know, he would have been straight. I'm not sure if he was icing the strain. I'm not sure how much treatment he had after coming off. But yeah, touch wood, mate, touch wood.
Nah, I'm telling you, because Kiwior, he came in, I'm not going to lie, at the start, he missed the header. You could see the nerves were in there in him. And I was thinking, oh, this is not looking good. But then as the game got on, he grew into the game. He was playing out of his favoured position, which was obviously right-sided centre-back. In my opinion, if you're a centre-back, you got to be able to play both left and right. But we know left-sided centre-backs do struggle there. But he did okay. He did okay. I think it's still too early to judge him, though.
Yes, right-footed centre-backs playing left centre-back, always the case. We've seen that for the last 30 or 40 years. Left-footed centre-backs playing right centre-back shouldn't be a problem. And I'm going to be honest, yes, he had a few nervy moments early on, but the way he can use his right foot in order to coordinate himself into playing it towards the left, and he hasn't got like a dead right foot or not. And I've got to say, the feet that he has, you know, it's a lot better. And the delivery he has and the pace that he has is very promising. Just not too sure about a Holding Kiwior partnership. Yes.
You know what I mean? That doesn't fill you with confidence, does it?
Let me just put in a word about Holding. Yeah, there's too many people out there bringing out all this kind of stick for Holding. And the thing about Rob Holding is he has done what he could have done. What can you expect out of Rob Holding? It's the system that we had against Manchester City. It's the way that Pep completely fooled Arteta with the 4-2-4 system that came into play. The pressure, we couldn't handle it. Yeah, it's so it's not just Rob Holding's
Do you know what it
fault.
is? I agree with you, Harry. I've been saying it.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit unfair how much stick Rob Holding gets because, to
Yeah.
be fair, I don't think he's put too much of a foot wrong. I think where Arsenal fans are hurt is the drop off from quality from Saliba and
Yes.
Holding. And I think
Exactly.
that's where the frustrations kicked in because it's evident Saliba's out the team. And we kind of capitulated, really, when you think about it. We scored, conceded, 11 to 15 goals. And it's not good. We even let in Chelsea, who can't buy a goal, get a goal at the Emirates. You get me? I was so pissed off about that. It was unreal. I do not know how these men got a goal. But look, I think that's what the situation is. But if we ever have to go to Newcastle with Kiwior and Holding, I'm not confident about that. I'll tell you that much for free because
if Kiwior and Holding plays, we need to play Jorginho and Partey together in like a holding midfielder with 1 or 2. Or we have to play 3 at the back. It sounds like a nightmare, but it has to be done.
Look, well, let's go on to touch on to Newcastle because we've got a few things to talk about there.
Yeah.
Who's in midfield for you? Thomas Partey or Jorginho?
This is a big question, man. If Thomas Partey was 70%, had that performance level that we had from him earlier on, definitely Thomas Partey. But we need the calmness, and we know that Newcastle are going to press it from the word go. They are going to come all guns blazing. Joe Ellington. And the midfield dynamo that Newcastle have. I'm very, very impressed with Newcastle.
Bruno Ramirez, top quality.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Quality. Somebody that we should have signed him. We should have definitely signed him. I'm telling you, big mistake.
Eddie Howe, wow. What he has done with that team, of course, with the money, but the money's not even there. Or come the end of the season, Newcastle are going to be pouring out money. I say probably about 150, 200 million easy on a whole lot. New players too. Yes, it's that midfield intensity, but I'm going to go for Jorginho and Partey together.
Jorginho and Partey together. So Odegaard, are we dropping Xhaka? What's going on in that situation then?
This is completely
can't drop Xhaka after what's just happened.
You can't drop Xhaka after that, right? Like I'm even thinking about 3 at the back, and even thinking of bringing in Kieran Tierney instead of Zinchenko. And yeah, we could possibly be bringing in a bit of a lovely chap, Nelson. But yes, listen, I'm going absolutely mental. I'm just too fucking scared of Partey being by himself. What about you, man?
Do you know what? It sounds mad, but obviously I know this ain't FIFA, yeah. But sometimes you look back and you think, what would happen if you played a Partey, Jorginho, Xhaka in midfield? You played a Trossard, an Odegaard on the wings, and a Jesus up front. It would give us something a little bit different. Maybe rest a Martinelli and a Saka, bring them on. Because I think Odegaard can play off from the wing. He could definitely play off from the wing, the right-sided wing. Trossard could be on the left. But then where's the creativity in the middle? But I say that, but granted, Xhaka of late, he's doing the job. He looks like he could play that more advanced role and do something like that. Because we're going to really need to tighten up the midfield. We're definitely going to need to tighten up the midfield. We know what Newcastle are like. Like you said, they press, they squeeze. Against us at the Emirates, they sat back and they soaked all the pressure up. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. I think they're going to have to be on the front foot. And if they are on the front foot, though, is that not when Arsenal play the best? When Arsenal can nick the ball, play their own game, break the lines, find the spaces. So it's a bit of a difficult one because we need the win. They need the win. It's a difficult ground going to St. James's Park. We know what it's like. I go there pretty much every year. I'm not going there this year, but the atmosphere, they make it ugly. They make it horrible, intense. And the moment you make a mistake or anything, the fans are on you. So we're going to need mentality in this game, 110. And I totally agree with you. I'll drop Zinchenko. and I'll put Kieran Tierney in. We need a proper left
Definitely.
back. He's making
We
too many
need a
mistakes.
full-on, no nonsense. We can't have any of this kind of Zinchenko like slacking off at the back, regardless of how much position and creativity he manages to bring in. Premsy, I want to know who's playing left back for Newcastle. Is it Dan Burn? Is it going to be Dan Burn versus Saka?
Dan Burn, yeah.
Okay. So it's going to be Dan Burn versus Saka, and Botman's probably going to come in and probably help out Dan Burn. Or it could be Joe Willock coming back to play. Because, one-on-one Saka on Dan Burn, usually if Saka has half the form that he had earlier on in the season, easy game. Absolutely easy game. We love that one-on-one. But Saka, he's looking a bit lackadaisical right now.
Yeah. He had a decent game against Chelsea, though. He had a decent game, better than what I've seen in recent weeks. Because I've been on the back of Saka recently. I think I expect so much more from him because I know what kind of player he is and what he can give us. But against Chelsea, I think he done all right. But then again, Chelsea are so shit; they make anyone look good about now. You know what I mean? But I think you're right. I think they will be definitely doubling up on Saka. We've seen that in the game at the Emirates on the wingers, Martinelli and Saka. They were definitely getting doubled up on. It's gonna be interesting to see how Newcastle approach the game because they're at home. They can't afford to sit back, and I'm guessing they want to clinch that third spot. If they clinch that third spot, it'll be a real statement that they've made. And credit to them. I want them to get third.
Yes.
I don't want United to get third. Tottenham are just absolutely capitulated. Them man can finish 7th. By the way, things are
not going to Europe. They are not going to go to Europe, man.
Conference League for them potentially.
Oh, mate. To be honest, it would be better for them to go to Conference League than for them to have 0 European football, because the Conference League, as it would progress, would take it out of them too at the same time. No, we're not going to spend any time talking about Tottenham, but they're in trouble, to say the least.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a proper mess over there. I think at the moment they clearly have made a big mistake by signing Antonio Conte when they wanted him. To be fair, I think a lot of people wanted Conte, but they went there.
Some people were saying Conte Arsenal, and I'm like, no.
You know what? I would have had Conte at that time. I'm not gonna lie, but after seeing Conte now and what's happened with Spurs, I won't touch him with a barge pole, definitely. But I think Tottenham, it ain't looking good for them for seasons to come. I'm telling you now for a fact. They lose Harry Kane. He's going to end up going. And you know what? It was interesting because I done a show Premier League Unpacked earlier on. People go check Premier League Unpacked out. Saeed was on the show as well. And we was discussing regarding Newcastle and Manchester United, who would potentially be a better suitor for Harry Kane. And I understand United's probably the better suitor because they're probably a bit more of a complete team now. And if you add a Harry Kane's goals to them, they could probably get over the line and win trophies. But I think Newcastle are not out of the question. The money that they're going to potentially spend, the core that they've already made and the foundation. And again, they're like a new shiny toy. That's what big up DSG. That's what he said. They're like a new shiny toy and everybody wants a piece of it. It'd be interesting. Tottenham are definitely going to be losing players. I could potentially see Son going as well. But yeah, all demise Tottenham. Hopefully, long this continues. You get me, and they end up bringing a Big Sam in after he gets sacked from Leeds. Hopefully, that's what happens. It is mental. Let's get some predictions. But just before I do go into the predictions to finish the show off, Aubameyang came back. You touched on it a little bit earlier on. Sentimental value. They just played him over that. You know what I mean? And at the start of the game, you seen Aubameyang looking around and you can see he really regretted leaving Arsenal. You can see he really regretted how sour it turned out to be. Are you sorry for Aubameyang, or are you a bit like, yeah, it is what it is? You shouldn't have came back and went to Chelsea.
You know what? Like, I'm not sorry for him. I'm sorry about the situation. It's just, it's such a pity, because the way that man managed to practically on some days single-handedly keep us challenging, getting us the FA Cup, and then going into this kind of absolute decimation of derelict form and his stint at Barcelona, coming back to Chelsea. Oh man, he's just made so many wrong decisions. I kind of felt slightly kind of weird listening to all that booing, because there was quite a lot of booing, right? And you could see, you know, that he's past it now. He is past it. The way he plays, the way he hasn't changed his game, it's kind of sad to watch, you know.
Now, you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
I loved Aubameyang. I loved him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It hurt when he left, but I could accept him going to Barcelona. I can accept that. But
Yeah,
for
but
me,
going to Chelsea is just absolutely fucking mental.
and then
Just
it's
out
not
of
even
order.
that. It's not even just that, Harry. It's I'm back. I'm blue. Have some fucking
Oh yeah,
respect.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hey,
Have some respect.
oh,
That's
come on,
why a
man.
lot of them boos are coming. I'm telling you now. That
That's
promo
the
video shot him.
Chelsea PR team fucking him over, man. Seriously.
It was Sky Sports, wasn't it? I'm sure it was Sky Sports that
Yeah,
done him
I
over. You know?
remember. I'm back. I'm blue. Now all that
Yeah.
fucking shit, it's just not needed. Absolutely no need. He should have just said fuck off to that.
That's
but
what I'm
he
saying.
didn't.
Have a little bit of balls and say, look, no, I'm not disrespecting the thing like that. I've got a good relationship with the fans, and now he shot himself in the foot. Mudryk looked like he was getting lasered in the eye. Allegedly, the guy got arrested that done it. He got a disgusting reception. Man
Yeah,
got
he
on
did.
him. You get me? And
Did
so
you see his story? Did you see his stories? He went up on Instagram saying it's okay with a big lovely heart at the end. Yeah, man.
I
That
don't know. I unfollowed him straight away when I
yeah.
didn't see him come to Arsenal. He got unfollowed
Hey,
straight away.
talking about loyalty, you know my good mate Iwabuchi.
Yeah.
You remember her, yeah? She plays for Spurs right now. She has been going to Arsenal games, and she's been putting up her stories, and which is very, very funny, you know, because she was there for the Champions League semi-final, and supporting her girls out there too. So that's what you call loyalty: going to Spurs but still supporting Arsenal. You know,
She agent Iwabuchi. She went to Tottenham, messed them up, and now she's come back to Arsenal. That's how it's going to be.
exactly.
And
And she's still only on loan theoretically. So
yeah, no, but I think when she comes back to Arsenal, though, she needs to get a bit more game time, because I do think there's a quality player in her, and I'm not just saying this because she's a
everybody
mate of
loves her.
yours.
The players love her. She was so important to that team. It's the gaffer. Who just doesn't.
To be fair, she scored a screamer and a half as well not so long ago.
Yeah,
Do you remember that long distance strike? There's talent in her, and I think when she comes back, there'll be some room for her, definitely. But let's move on to some score predictions for Newcastle.
Predictions.
Talk to me. What are you predicting?
Oh, I'm going to go for 2-1, man. 2-1. Come on, boys. I'd say we get an early goal, and then get another goal around the 65th or 70th minute. They get a goal, 74th minute. Immense pressure. We managed to bail it out. Hopefully. You know,
I think it's going to be difficult. You know, I do honestly
it's
think
going to
it's
be
going to be
difficult.
difficult.
I know it's going to be difficult. Yeah.
But I'm going a 1-0 to the Arsenal, famous scoreline, 1-0. Hopefully we keep a clean sheet, even though I can't see us keeping a clean sheet. That's the scoreline I want. Ideally, I'll be honest, Harry, I think it's likely going to be 1-1. But I'm just going to go with 1-0 because I don't want to put nothing bad on there. You know what I mean? I don't want to put no bad energy. So I'm going to go with 1-0 to the Arsenal. But look, like Kev says here, 1-1, sorry. I really hope I'm wrong. And we win. And I think that's you just got to give Newcastle that respect. They deserve it. They've been playing outstanding this season, best defensive record in the league, and they've got an outstanding home record as well. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, Harry. Have you got any final words for the viewers?
Oh, we'll see who plays up front for Newcastle. Is it going to be Isak or is it going to be Wilson? Is our old boy Willett going to be there? Come on, Arsenal. We're going to fucking have it. Come on.
That's it, people. 30 Mins Arsenal has come to an end, people. Make sure you're smashing a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new. Go and check out Harry on Instagram as well. His tags at the bottom of his screen there. You'll be able to see it. And also Premzy_AFC. Go and check me out on Instagram if you haven't already, people. But we'll be back next week, roughly same time, 11 p.m. on Wednesday night. Peace and love. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, Arsenal. Come on.